All right, so this is the video, and you watched it, and there you go. So numbers, auditing, impressions are all being worked on by pretty much every type of medium there is. And now let's move on. Oh, stop. I know you can, but I don't care. Now, we've kind of wrapping things up, but I do want to show you some information from the trade organization for magazines, which is called the MPA. Used to be the Magazine Publishers Association. It's now really the Association of Magazine Media. And I want to show you, I've gone to their website, and I want to show you some things that they're doing on the website. Now, this is how they sell magazines to advertisers. So we saw how Vogue Britain sells itself to advertisers, and I now want to show you how the concept of being in magazines, print and online, and whatever magazines are now, today, why advertisers need to be spending money there to reach their audiences. And this is kind of a weird table of contents. You see their pages here. These are the points that they're making. Magazine media is relevant to me. People say that. Magazine readers believe in brands and in paying more for the ones they value, right? Magazine media, this is the measurement that what used to be called the Audited Bureau of Circulations is doing. This is magazines can boost sales and give you an ROI on your ad spend, page 52 in this presentation. This is paper-based reading is preferred by a majority, even millennials. Now, that's some interesting data. We'll have a quick look at that. Magazine readers are active. All right, so they're trying to kind of give you some conclusions here in this page before they start the presentation. Now, I showed you a little squib from the textbook from 2017 in terms of leading magazines. Now, this is how the Association of Magazine Media looks at the top magazine brands. This is average monthly audiences for 2018. These are the most recent data that they have. So when you add print and digital audience, this is in millions, this is the rating here on the left. With AARP Magazine first with 38,755,000 people. Better Homes and Gardens, which is Meredith. National Geographic, you guys know. Good Housekeeping, which is Hearst. So you've got the top five. We can just look at the top five. Now, when you look at just the websites for these magazine brands, it looks a little different. ESPN being very high. WebMD, All Recipes, People, New York Magazine. Mobile web, so this is from your mobile phone. Here are unique visitors to mobile websites. Video, this is watching videos from these websites. And then there's a total brand audience, which is just giving unique visitors for the top five properties. You see ESPN, the magazine, then People, WebMD, All Recipes, and AARP are the top. It's not just a printed edition, right, guys? It's across all platforms in terms of how many people these brands, magazine brands, reach. I wanted to also show you growth, because these are the magazine brands that are growing the fastest. And we just need to look, I think, at print and digital audience on the left. The magazine brand Motorcyclist grew 74% between 2017 and 2018 in terms of audience size. Magnolia Journal, Men's Journal, Afar, which I'm not even sure what that is, and then This Old House. So there you see growth there. And the top one is very much of a specialist magazine, right? It's one that's really aimed at the people who like to motorcycle. So it's not a, it just shows the the vitality of some of these specialist magazines. Okay. This again from the Association of Magazine Media. This shows that this is magazine print and digital readership is strong for adults under 35 and under 25. This is what this claims. This is the measurement which is being done by the new version of the ABC. It's magazine 360, comprehensive snapshot of consumer demand for magazine media brands in print, on the web, on the mobile, on social, etc. It's being measured. That's how they're measuring. They want you to know they're measuring all these things. They do make a lot. There are lots of slides in there about social media engagement by category. And this shows that the social media sites of magazine media brands have more posts than social media sites that are involved in action and adventure but are not sponsored by magazine brands across Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And this is the same thing for women's fashion and beauty, that the social sites of the magazine brands have gotten more engagement, more people involved, more posting than those sites on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram that are not magazine brands. Another point that the magazines make to sell themselves in 2020 is that people who love magazines tend to have more friends than people who don't love magazines. So I'm not going to dig into the numbers here for you guys, but they're there for you to look at. And this is research that they are citing, saying that people who love magazines have lots of friends and have a wide social circle and entertain them and hang out with them a lot, which means that when you advertise with a magazine brand, wherever it is, in print, online, and social, you're going to have that pass along effect, that multiplier effect. Okay. Now this gets to this whole other area, which actually I find pretty fascinating, of how does a magazine impression work? How does a printed medium's impression work? And you remember, I hope, that with newspapers, I made the point that there's just, when it's a printed page with words on it, your mind creates images and pictures that go along with what you're reading. That's how most of us read, whether it's books or magazines or whatever it is, without images. And so this is just saying that paper-based reading is more focused, higher comprehension, stimulates emotions and desires. They say people prefer paper-based reading, even millennials. Drives sensory involvement, which contributes to reader impact as slower reading speeds. And I think there is really something to this. This is a very valid point, folks. And this just says, again, in the Association of Magazine Media's presentation to advertisers about why they need to think about advertising with magazine brands. People do like print. They retain more. They don't like reading on screens. It's more pleasurable to handle and touch than other media. So it's another interesting phenomenon. And here's another one that says that people who read magazines have influence over others in multiple product categories. Okay, I'm not going to dwell on this slide too much. And this says that magazine brands, although they've been pummeled and beaten and moved to internet or added internet, that a lot of those old magazines are still around, despite all that. Okay. So we've looked at the category, the market for magazines, the business, the players, the way things are measured, impressions are measured, how magazines sell themselves. And we're kind of wrapping up with a few things here. Yes, you can sponsor a whole magazine. This was a special edition Newsweek put out some time ago about Selena. You guys may not have heard of Selena, but she was a very, very popular and talented Latina singer and dancer who was actually assassinated by a friend, by someone she knew, very tragically. And Jennifer Lopez played the lead in the special video about Selena. But Newsweek put out a special issue all about Selena. This is before she was assassinated, and the whole thing was sponsored by Coca-Cola, who wanted to read. This was done in English, and Coca-Cola ads were the only ads that ran in this whole issue, and that can still be done. And that's still just one impression, guys and gals, but a lot of depth of sale. This is this whole area of advertorials in magazines. That's what they're called. On web pages, it's called native advertising because web people just didn't want to take that term from magazines and use that old-fashioned term. We need our own term. But this is where, and we've talked about it, that the magazine creates content for an advertiser, and it runs, and it says special advertising section in small letters, but it looks like editorial content running in the magazine, and they're willing to do it. They charge for it, but they're willing to do it. You saw it with Vogue, British Vogue, that they would create special videos or content for you to run on their platforms. Okay, so wrapping things up here, magazine advertising. How do we evaluate it? Well, we look at CPM, cost per thousand, and we look at the quality of the impression and measurability. So here's our CPM comparison brought out again. It's a little old, but it's still not out of date. Now, on the right, our magazine CPM is for a full page color ad. CPM is, I would say, kind of in the middle of CPMs, cost per thousands. Hopefully you agree. See where it says magazines. What about the quality of the impression? Sight, sound, motion. Well, let's just talk about the print version. The website could be anything. But the print version, quality of impression, there's a lot of time spent with the ad, and as long as you want, you can pick it up and read it again, keep it as long as you want, which means you can have lots of text, lots of depth of sale in magazines. Yes, it's avoidable because you can miss the ads very easily in magazines, and that is one of the issues. And that's why positioning in the magazine is so darned important. You know, getting the back cover, getting the inside cover gatefold is so important with magazines to make sure your ad is seen. But and also remember that multi-page ad with a scent strip is still just one impression. So the quality of impression and the imagination is engaged by print. So all those things combined, I think, make the magazine impression, not so bad. Combination of words and static images stimulates the imagination. Okay. Advantages and disadvantages. I'm going to stop here, and we're going to just finish up with one more little squib. It won't be that long. One more little video.